Today on Outside the Box Reviews, we're looking at the Playmates Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle line. This is the 2012 TV show figures, and this is Michelangelo. I have to admit, when I first saw the previews for these guys coming out at New York Toy Fair, I was a little underwhelmed. There were some other things that were hinted at that I was more excited about, but when I finally saw these guys in stores and even just the reviews online, I broke. I knew I had to have these things. They were so cool and nostalgic in just the right ways. So I had to pick up the brothers and shoot some reviews on them. Now, as a kid, Michelangelo was my favorite. I liked the comedicness of him. As time's gone on, I think looking back, Raphael is kind of more the one I identify with overall. But as a kid, Michelangelo was definitely up there for me. So let's take a closer look at this new incarnation of Mikey and see how he stacks up. His primary weapon here, he has two, are his nunchucks. They're decent. It's kind of strange because I grew up with the Playmates Ninja Turtles toys, and in all honesty, they haven't upgraded their figures a whole lot since back in those days. They use a lot of single-colored plastics to mold the weapons, and they're just as they are. In most toys, I would be very disappointed in this, but for some stupid reason, I get the biggest nostalgic awesomeness out of having something like this, that it makes me happy. My big complaint is the chain is plastic. You can actually see it has some marks on it from stress. It's because I tried bending them and kind of moving them around, and it's really not liking it. The sad part is, to get them to fit in his holster on his belt, you have to squeeze them together and then insert them. And I'm not even going to do it on camera right now because I really feel like it's going to break if I do it wrong. Here's how they look installed on his back. They look good like this. I just really wish I didn't feel like I was going to snap this plastic piece doing it. One of the modifications I'd like to make, I don't know if I'll do it sooner or later, is to actually replace this with a real chain. I think an upgrade like that, obviously this is a cheaper figure, so it's not going to have the kind of detail put into it by the company, but I think as a customizer and a fan of these toys, I think I could actually make that little modification and somewhat improve the figure. Here's Mikey's other weapon. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I'm sure somebody will post a comment below and make me feel really stupid, but I know it's a variation on the Kama. This top part is the Kama, and it has an extended out name for the chain and all that stuff added onto it. But, it's a little scythe blade on the handle here, and a chain and a weight at the end, a counterweight, and it could be swung or anything like that. Supposedly, this is what they're upgrading Mikey to in this series. I don't know how true it is, because there definitely is art of him with the nunchucks, his classic weapon. But also in the original cartoon series, in Europe, they took out his nunchucks, and even in the normal series in America, they got rid of the nunchucks after a few seasons and put in this grappling hook, which I guess this is kind of reminiscent of. However, I do think it's kind of funny that back in the 80s and 90s, they dulled down some of the more aggressive pieces to make it a little more child-friendly and not as violent, and then now they're taking a blunt force trauma weapon and giving him a blade instead. It's an okay piece. It definitely suffers from lack of paint detail for sure. This chain being molded plastic kind of puts it in an awkward position. You can't put it in his holster in any way that looks right. Once again, I think I might replace this chain, do some more paint work on it. There's some nice detail though. You can see there's a chip taken out of the blade here, which is really nicely done. Overall, a really cool looking piece. You can plug it in Mikey's hand here, and he has the chain with the blade. Unfortunately, because this chain's all curved as well, you can't do any kind of cool action pose like he's actually, shooting it out or throwing it out. I guess you could put it back here like this and make it look like he's about to sling it or something, like it's coiling up for the throw. That's about the best you can get out of it. Next up, Mikey has a few little Shuriken here. He has this larger blade. It's a big X-shaped. Once again, nicely done, nicely detailed. Should have been silver instead of orange, I think. It would have made it look a lot nicer, but I could paint that. Comes with two of these. And it comes with a couple little Shuriken here. Some little throwing stars, which have a nice curved edge to them. This is more the traditional style. I think it's very reminiscent of some of the ones we got with the vintage figures. they're pretty cool. Mikey can hold either of these. They both fit in his hands, so he can look like he's ready to throw them at some foot soldiers. To be honest with you, I've bought so many figures that can't hold their weapons. The fact that Mikey can is impressive, to see the least, out of how some of the other things in this figure seem a little on the cheaper side. They might not be the best accessories, they might not have the best detailing or paint, but he holds them. And they are things that would work with the character. They're not ridiculous, big missile-firing pieces of crap. They really are ninja weapons, which is good. And reminiscent of the vintage line, all the weapons, with the exception of the nunchucks, came on this little model card here where I cut them out, and there's obviously some more plastic in between them and all that stuff. But if you did choose to keep them on the rack, I don't even know if you can see it on here, but it actually is labeled Mike up here. So you could actually keep track of which turtle the weapons go to if you so chose to do that. As for our hero in a half shell, he's a pretty cool little figure onto himself. I love the face sculpt. It's very, very classic Mikey. It could still have that kind of aggressive look if you wanted it to, in the right pose and the right lighting. But he's smiling. He's just having a good time. He just wants some pizza. Well, honestly, heck, I don't know much about this new TV series. The trailers don't exactly fill me with encouragement, to be honest with you. I don't really like the animation style. I like the character design. I like these toys, the way they're designed. I don't like the animation style. I think it actually makes it look a little cheap. And I apologize for getting off on this rant here, but I kind of feel like it needs to be said with this review. For all I know, in this series, it doesn't sound like they say cowabunga. It sounds like they go all Ali G and it's booyakasha. And for all I know, they're not going to eat pizza. Who knows? Maybe, you know, it's, they took away Cookie Monster's cookies, so what? Maybe they have a fresh garden salad? Maybe that's what we're going to get in this series. I really don't know. But to me, Michelangelo is always looking to score some pizza. I literally mean score some pizza. It's like a drug to him. Like, I was just rewatching some of the classic episodes the other day, and literally it's like, I think you've been eating too many pizzas. You kind of can interpret, maybe it doesn't necessarily mean pizza in that way. I don't know. But he's got a rubberized bandana back here, all nice and flowing in orange. It's a little different on the rubberized piece than the sculpted hard plastic of the mask, but not a big deal to me. He has no pupil, just the white eyes, which is basically what I would expect out of a turtle. But some nice sculpting on the face. I really do like it. This profile is cool looking as well. Has some good muscle detail on his neck and his arms. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see it in this video. I wish I had an even higher HD camera, but the muscle work is good, and there's also little teeny tiny little warts into his skin. It's really prominent on the legs. I don't know if it will come out in camera right now, but especially around the lines of his muscles and stuff, there's some little wart details which are really nice. The skin has a good texture to it. It actually feels really three-dimensional and lifelike, which is very neat. And something I don't know if we're even going to see in the cartoon once again, because it looks so strangely animated. He has his shell on the front here, which is actually a piece of rubber. You can even bend up the bottom part, which will help with leg articulation. He has his belt, which is a separate piece. I guess you could slide it off if you really wanted to. It is molded in deep on the side, so it sticks to his body, which I don't really like, because a belt wouldn't do that. So it's a little odd. His shell is hard plastic. He has his traditional arm pads. These aren't colored, they're just brown. All the turtles just have brown. Same with the wrist. All of them also have bandages. His hands are bandaged up, and his feet kind of have a wrap on them. It's an interesting idea. It's a little more, dare I say, realistic, I guess. I mean, you know, you see a prize fighter going out, they're going to wrap up their hands, you know, prevent breakage and all that crap, make sure their hands in the right position. I don't really know too many martial artists that do that. I mean, I studied Taekwondo for years and years, and I don't really remember anybody taping up their hands for much in the way of that. Obviously not ninjutsu, but I don't know. It's interesting. It's not a bad look for him. I'm not gonna turn against that. So his knee pads. Knee pads also have some good detail, some cuts and scrapes. His bandaged up feet. Around these bandages is where the paint gets really sloppy. At the edge, you can see there's a little bit of green coming on to where it should be brown. Same with the mask. The mask isn't always painted as well. This is across the line with all these turtles. Also, the bandages are not painted on the palm of the hand or on the bottom of the feet, which is really, really disappointing. And I'm going to leave it like this. I'm not going to bother trying to repaint it. I don't really want to repaint the turtle itself. Plus, I don't want to try to match that brown. This is going to be a pain in the butt. What adds to the disappointment of it, though, is that they took time on the feet. He actually has sculpted detail on the bottom of his foot. He actually would leave a decent little footprint if you were to like take him to the beach or something. You know, little kid. I could see kids playing with these. Heck, if I had kids, I'd be buying them Ninja Turtle to be like, here, play with this. This is awesome. But also, it has the copyright info down there, so every time you take a step, you'd be leaving cool turtle footprints, but also have copyright, Viacom, China, all that crap, and also the peg hole, but the peg holes are nice if you ever want to pose them. For articulation, he has a ball-jointed neck with a very nice range of motion. I mean, you can move it a lot, and it eventually will pop off if you bend it too far, but it pops right back on. Pin socket shoulders. Get a full 360 out of them. It's hindered a little bit by the shell, of course. Up and down. You can bend and swivel at the elbow. He doesn't bend quite as much as I would like at the elbow, so it's a little annoying. He also will swivel at the wrist. One problem I have is the fact that it's kind of hard to move this wrist articulation because it's so much of the arm. It's about half of this lower arm. Such a tiny little part here is used for the actual swivel part in the hinge. It's really, you see the hinge ends and the swivel cut is right there. First of all, I wonder if that's going to be fragile over time, and then secondly, it just makes it a little hard. You try to rotate the wrist and you end up moving the arm instead. It's kind of annoying. Obviously nothing through the body. He's a turtle. He has a shell. He has pin and socket legs. You can move forward. You can swivel it and move out to the side. Kind of similar to the Avengers, but there's no ball up there. It's just a single hinge, so you have to mess with it a little bit to get it to go where you want, but it's not too bad. As I mentioned before, this lower part of the shell is rubberized, so you can move the leg and it will just kind of bend with it, which is really nice. You can bend and swivel at the knee, and that is it for the articulation down there. So fairly limited in the articulation department, but you could still do a lot of cool stuff with this figure. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is that the turtles in this line have these big, chunky, three-toed feet. Kind of odd. They're not the traditional style foot. We normally had the two-toed turtle feet, which I really used to like because they're very reminiscent of martial arts style shoes, which would have the big toe kind of separated from the rest of the toes. I always thought that was a really neat way to put a ninja influence just in the design of the turtle itself. However, I don't think these big feet are a bad thing. They look, honestly, a bit more realistic to me. They have 3 fingers. They should kind of have 3 toes. They should all kind of be in the same place. Plus the fact that I never really thought about it until recently, but the Ninja Turtles would have had to be pretty damn heavy. Just in a weird physics kind of way. They would have had to be fairly heavy, so it would make sense that they'd have to have these big feet to support their weight. Almost kind of like an elephant does, where it disperses the weight over a larger area. Another reason I'm not going to complain about the big feet is you could do stuff like this. How cool is this? There's no stand involved here. He's just balancing on his own in this really cool kicking pose. I love it. I love this. You know, you could also do, you could take him and you could stand him on his head. That's another like fun thing, and he looks like he's by the back of my backdrop. He's not leaning on anything. He just has his head and his 2 arms on the ground. That's what's supporting him, and that's how he's standing. It really, really cool that you could do these kind of things with him. And the posability factor is just awesome to me. It's a lot of fun. You could do some cool stuff with them. Hey look, I managed to get him off one of the hands, so you could put the nunchuck in one hand, have him still doing the cool, crazy headstand pose. Just really neat. If you have a character that's supposed to be a ninja, one of the biggest things you want is posability, the ability to make him look like he's doing ninja things. And Michelangelo definitely has that, which just thrills me to death. He comes with some cool ninja weapons. You have the nunchucks, which are classic. You have this new weapon, the Kama something or other. And then you have the throwing stars, which are so quintessential ninja stuff. It's just perfect. And it all seems to fit the character that at least anybody my age knows and loves from their childhood. As I said before, I don't know where this new TV series is going to go. I don't know if it's going to be something I'm going to enjoy. But I do enjoy this figure. And I'm really glad I picked him up. I highly, highly recommend him. He's a lot of fun. He really, truly is a lot of fun. We've got the rest of the brothers coming up. Make sure you check out Outside the Box reviews on Facebook. I will leave a link in the description. And until next time, this has been another Outside the Box review. Stay tuned for more to come.